Biochem Lecture 3, Autosomal Recessive Disorders. Just memory tricks to be able to get them down. Oculocutaneous albinism, found on chromosome 11 or 15 with the OCA1 gene that has to do with tyrosinase. So tyrosinase. Tyrosinase, think of tying up, putting a sign, okay? So why? Because there is an albino, people tied him up, they tied him up with a rope, and they put a sign out that says OC, in other words, O, come and see, OCA, albino, OC, albino, one albino tied up, and maybe 11 or 15 people tied him up. So there he is, tied up albino with a sign, tyro, tied up, sign. Next, galactosemia. We all know galactose is sugar found in milk. So here is a chocolate malt, and this has to do with, he had galt bolded on there, so I call this a galt malt. It'll help you remember that galt is associated with galactosemia. Okay, some of these suck, by the way. I just came up as fast as I could. Next is phenylketonuria on chromosome 12. Few things just stand out. The people have musty odor, and it's also mentioned ochratoxin A. So I drew this guy with a fennel on his head coming out of the funnel. Is a fennel is a stinky smell, and he's holding ochre, 12 little ochre things on it, and it's toxic ochre. So funnel on his head, phenylketonuria, and toxic ochre, and it's a musty odor. It smells bad. Okay. Next, alkaptonuria. Here, this is on chromosome 3, and so black tissues and P, and also it's associated with homogentisic acid oxidase. So for this, I have two captains, alkaptonuria, two captains. They're peeing out this black P, which makes kind of a 3 appearance here like this. You can see that. I should have made that a little more obvious. There we go, 3 there. And they are homosexual gentlemen, gentisic, and they're peeing here black P, homogentisic acid. Okay. Cystinuria, SLC3A1 or SLC7A9, and kidney stones, early development of kidney stones kids. So it turns out that everybody has been peeing in Salt Lake City, in the Great Salt Lake, and so it's got all these kidney stones at the bottom of the Great Salt Lake. So think SLC, Great Lake kidney stones down there, okay, with cystinuria. And I forgot the way of doing that. So what was actually going on here is your cysta. Here's your cysta. She's been dumping her kidney stones from her urine in here. So there she is. Cysta has been dumping her kidney stones in there in Salt Lake City from her urea. Next, maple syrup urine disease. For that, I just drew a maple tree. This has to do with branch chain ketoaciduria and isoleucine. So coming off of the maple tree are these little icicles for isoleucine, and it has keys for ketoaciduria, so little keys on the end of these icicles for isoleucine. Next, Wilson's disease, copper. Just pretending that after the story, oh goodness, what was that? Anyway, what's-his-face gets abandoned on this island, and he has this volleyball that he names Wilson. Can't remember the name of the movie. But anyway, we're just going to say that he missed Wilson so much that he had a copper statue made of Wilson. So if you think of Wilson's disease, think copper volleyball, Wilson, copper volleyball, there it is, copper right there. Okay, next, hereditary fructose intolerance, aldolase B is what you're going to remember here. So here is Waldo, kind of sounds like Aldo lace. He's wearing lace in this, very nice lace you see there. Aldolase B, And you know it's fructose intolerance because he can't tolerate this banana, so he's going to throw it on the ground. Allolase B. Can't fructose in the banana. He's throwing it on. There's a little B next to him. Allolase B for fructose intolerance. So Aldo cannot tolerate this fruity banana. Next, Zellweger syndrome. Peroxisomes. I just pretended that there was a cleaning product called Z for Zap, and it was made by Zellweger. For Z, what does it do? It zaps dirt. So it uses real peroxisomes or hydrogen peroxide. So Zellweger Zap hydrogen peroxide, like zap up messes and clean them up. Next, it has to do with peroxisomes. It's a disorder with it. Next is phocomelia. In this case, the person is missing limbs. So I drew here, this is Amelia. I don't know if you can see this, but Amelia has no limbs, and it makes it very difficult for her to phone call. Phocomelia. Amelia is having a hard time being on the phone because she has no limbs. Okay. Going back over here now. Phocomelia, missing limbs. Next is hereditary hemochromatosis. And for this one, I drew this is an iron disease, the HFE gene. FE is the another way of saying iron, ferrin, Fe. And so this is an iron sword, and it's hemochromatosis, hemo for blood, so I've got some blood on this sword, and it's really chrome, it's shining, it's a chrome blood sword. There it is, hereditary hemochromatosis, iron issue, chrome. Next, Friedreich's ataxia. I drew a taxi here, and there's a baby. I don't know if you can tell that's a baby in the taxi, and he's saying ga 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 ga. Okay, ga ga. And that's because this is a GAA triplet, so he's saying ga ga, and it's the frataxin. So, and the little baby's name is Friedrich. So Friedrich says ga ga. Next, McCurdle's disease, exercise intolerance. Get a second wind. So in this one, I've got this guy, he's trying to jump these hurdles, okay, but he can't tolerate the exercise, so he falls down before the second hurdle. Same for him, apparently they get a second wind. I guess also he takes sucrose, that can help with that. But anyway, so here he is, exercise intolerance. McCurdle's can't jump hurdles because he got exercise intolerance. Next, Tori syndrome, phosphofructokinase 1. So apparently this is kind of fruit called the taro fruit, okay? And let's say that taro is fruit good because it has lots of phosphorus in it, okay? So taro fruit, here it is, phosphofructo, tari fructokinase 1 deficiency, I think. Next is argininosuccinic acidemia. So in this case, I'm pretending that in Argentine, they outlawed all meat, okay? And the reason why is because apparently you're not supposed to let these people have protein, or there's something, so I can't remember, some issue with protein. So no protein, and so he's saying Argentine sucks, and it sucks because there's no protein. It's arginosuccinate. Okay, next is homocystinuria. So for this one, what I came up with is now the, here it is. So this has blood clots and cystothione beta synthase. You don't want to get this one confused with this one, the cystinuria, where she's throwing her kidney stones. Cystiurine is throwing her kidney stones in there. This is homocystinuria. So in this case, it's her sister, okay, I don't know, is homosexual, and she's in love, which helps remember blood, or the heart attacks associated with blood clots. And thione is where she's saying thy one, because she's in love. And homosexual, homocystinuria, and they're in love. Thy one, thione, cystothione, and blood clots, heart disease. Okay, carnitine uptake deficiency. So for this one, carnitine, think carnivore. Carnivore because this is on the Faroe Islands where they filmed the movie Jurassic Park. Not really, but for the sake of remembering this, we'll imagine that the Faroe Islands is where they filmed Jurassic Park where there's these big carnivore dinosaurs, and if you go there, you're going to get really fatigued because you have to be running away from the big dinosaurs all the time, the carnivores all the time, because they're going to uptake you and kill you. Okay, next, long chain L3 hydroxy acyl-CoA hydrogenase deficiencies. Oh my goodness. Okay, L-Chad. So this is Chad, I guess, and L-Chad. Chad is really obese because he cannot break down fat. It's also called mitochondrial trifunctional protein deficiency, TFPD. So Chad cannot break down fat. Next, cholesterol ester storage disease, hyperlipidemia. So I drew all these things. Ester, I had these, those little chocolate Easter eggs they make, or Easter eggs are really high in cholesterol. So cholesterol Easter eggs, and you have to store them all over the yard, and then all the kids get really hyper, and they eat them all. So hyperlipidemia, they eat all the fat, lipid. So hyperlipidemia associated with cholesterol ester disease. Kids get all hyper and eat all the fatty eggs. Next is Niemann-Pick disease, type A, sphingomyelin and corneal opacity. So this one I was kind of running out of energy, but essentially what's going on here is Niemann-Pick. This is a neat man. He's got a pickaxe here, and sphingomyelin. He has these springs on his feet for springo or springo. There he is, and maybe he's picking corn. There's a piece of corn rows. He's jumping around picking, Niemann-Pick. He's picking corn for corneal opacity and springing with a pick from thing to thing. And that's all of it.